On this week's Mainly Moonology podcast, I'm talking to a very far out and amazing woman called Raghida Shaman. She's a fellow Aussie. She and I spoke about the move of Pluto into Capricorn and how she sees twin flames working with that, how it's all about the transformation of humanity, which we both agree on for sure, and also about ascension and the twin flame elephant in the room at the very start. We talk about that controversial Netflix documentary about twin flames. So here's what happened. By the way, if you're just joining us now, this is Jonty, my dog, who just wanted to come up at the last minute, so I allowed him to hop on my knee. But yeah, if you're new to the Mainly Moonology podcast, then essentially what's happening is we've had Pluto flip-flopping in and out of Capricorn and Aquarius last year, and now it's doing it again this year. And it is a very big energetic shift, and I have covered this from the sort of astrological perspective one way or another over the past few weeks as this has been happening. But Raghida suggested that maybe we could talk about it in terms of twin flames and ascension, which sounds very spooky cosmic. Let's dive into that, Raghida. But before we do, would you forgive me if I actually put you on the spot just for a second? Let's talk about what I think is a bit of an elephant in the room at the moment with the whole twin flames thing. So there was a Netflix documentary which was really interesting from a Saturn in Pisces point of view. Saturn is laying down the law and Pisces is new age stuff. And what they did was they found this couple in the States who honestly, I think, could have chosen any topic. They could have chosen astrology. They could have chosen chakras. They could have chosen goddesses. It so happened that they chose twin flames. He was, I mean, I don't want to say negative things because I don't know him, but he seemed to exert a fair bit of control over his partner, who seemed to be relatively happy to be slightly pushed around from what I could ascertain.
Did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah, I've seen it. I'm amazed you haven't watched it. Can you not see it in Australia?
Yeah, you can. I just haven't had the time, genuinely.
Right. So basically what happens in there is that they start ripping people off. It's really for people who've broken up with their ex, for example, and how to get them back and how to say if that's their twin flame or it's not their twin flame, to the point where, you know, some people then take restraining orders out against these people because they're continually sort of harassing them to get back together because they're being told by these people that they're paying, that they're twin flames and so on. And there's even a couple of times where completely heterosexual people are told that their twin flame is someone else within the organization who's the same sex, and they're told, you know, you have to get together with them. And it's very, very strange. So, I mean, I guess what we could start off by saying, since you haven't actually seen it, Raghida, you know, obviously you don't do any of this SHIT. You know, for anyone who's seen the Netflix, I mean, are you concerned by this? Like, you obviously, when you came to England and you did the Birmingham MBS Mind Body Spirit Festival.
Absolutely not. So twin flames, so make it very, very clear.
Yeah.
They are spearheading ascension. There's 144,000. They're a very special code. They're encoded with the new codes of the new earth. So they have come, and it's not something you can go out and buy as a purchase, as a, you know, buy your twin flame or do this course and you learn your twin flame, or it happens to you. It's not something you can go out and prepare for. When you meet them, it's a soul recognition. It's not a 3D physical, oh, that looks like my twin flame. It's the soul orchestrates, and it orchestrates the union or the reconnection, and it works outside of time, outside of space, outside of dimensions. So when they do meet in this third dimensional plane, it's a cosmic force, two cosmic forces coming together to form the third unified field. So when you meet them, it really shakes you to your core, because you think, what was that? It's either their voice, the eyes, the energy, a smell, because twin flames are a sound, vibrational frequency attunement at the DNA level. It's not a matchmaking type event. It happens outside of this consciousness stream. So when they get together, it's for a purpose, to assist the ascension of the earth, our Earth is rising. Mother Earth is moving into the 5th dimensional plane, actually 7th at this stage. And it's for the ascension of humanity and to awaken the grids of unconditional love back onto the Earth, to really assist in bringing back the heaven on earth templates. These are encoded in our golden DNA. And as you know, we're moving into fully the golden age of Aquarius. These people were together, these souls were together during the golden age of Atlantis, the golden age of Lemuria, and the ancient golden age of Egypt before the great downfall.
You're saying we're still kind of diving into twin flames a bit before we get to Pluto, but with the idea of the 144,000 twin flames. So does that mean is that 144,000 individuals divided by 2? So we have that many couples, so 72,000 twin flame couples.
Yes, correct.
And they are going to be from the 6 billion or 7 or 8 billion people on the planet.
One group. So there's starseeds, there's shamans, there's the angelic realm, there's the galactic ambassadors. There's quite a few realms of people who've come in to assist the ascension at this time. We heard the calling at a soul level, and we've all come in as a collective consciousness. Twin flames are just one category, and we really need to move. Even when coming into the age of Aquarius, I'm moving beyond that title, because it's not even, you can't even give it a title. It's a cosmic energy. It's a force, a profound force that comes together for the greater good. It brings in it collective awakening. It smashes and demolishes the old templates, and it allows the awakening and rising of new templates upon the earth. It brings harmonic grids back in. It also, the biggest thing it does, which is why Pluto and Capricorn had a big twin flame awakening of the 3 waves, is it brings up a lot of darkness to be healed into light. So when they do meet, they will bring up their wounds from past lives, ancestral, generational, karmic, and then for the collective grids, we awaken to heal the darkness in the collective consciousness to bring it to light. And now that's almost done. It's sealed. It's sealed.
Like for me as a moonologer and an astrologer, the whole world potentially can come to me and I can teach them about their horoscope chart, for example. How does it work for you where people will come to you, but only 72,000 couples around? So does that mean you have a lot of people who come to you to learn about twin flames and you have to say, sorry, you don't have a twin flame? Or I don't know if you've got a twin flame.
I'm like you, straight shooter. I will say it to your face. And I've actually done it in sessions where the session has begun, they've booked a twin flame session, and within a few minutes, I can tell immediately from the frequency, the atonement in their voice is not a twin flame. They're in a toxic, karmic, narcissistic, whatever it is, relationship. And I'll say to them, look, I'm happy to continue with the session if you want me to assist you in healing, on working on your self-love grids, on understanding why you're in a trauma bond with somebody, but this is not a twin flame connection. This is not how twin flames work. And I give them the choice, and they can either get their money back because I stop it immediately, or we continue with the session and then they can heal. But it's not for a twin flame ascension frequency attunement. Very different vibration.
So people tend to come to you as singles or couples when they
singles, mainly singles, and it's usually the the feminine who's going through her separation from her twin. She can feel it in her soul. It doesn't leave her. She's gone through the dark nights of the soul, which you and I discussed in our previous podcast together, and doesn't understand why this doesn't go, does not understand, seeing signs everywhere, seeing synchronicities. There's a very fast acceleration in the ascension. And the biggest thing is the Kundalini awakening that happens for twin flames. They go through a horrendous, now it's much easier, awakening of the chakras from the 7D to the 12D to the 144 DNA light codes.
So for anyone who wants more sort of the basics of all this, just flip back through the past episodes and you'll find where Raghida and I kind of talked about the basics of this. All right, so let's talk. Thank you for addressing that. And I'm sorry I put you on the spot with that. I thought about it yesterday and I thought, I wonder, I should ask Raghida what she thinks about that documentary. And then I thought, nah, I won't. And then literally the minute I hit record, which does happen to me sometimes, I was like, no, I need to ask her.
The reason why I didn't address it is I want to keep shining the light, not fighting the fight, because to me, it's what I call a Seth energy or an intercepting energy attempting to block ascension. So where it's almost like it's almost like even the dark movement that we saw last year, towards the end of last year, if we focused on that, we gave it more attention, it amplifies. If we move our energy towards the light, bring in harmonic grids, bring in the peace grids, stay in our own lane, do what the right thing is, know what we're doing, don't give that the focus, because to me, that's a different timeline. What's going on there is a very different timeline. I've chosen to stay in the light, keep assisting twins, keep assisting ascension, especially now that we're moving into the age of Aquarius with ascension, which is the biggest movement on planet Earth this year. This is the beginning. We're in a time capsule, witnessing this lifetime as a collective 7-8 billion people through the awakening portals.
Okay. Let's talk about your take then on Pluto moving backwards and forwards as it did last year. Okay, so it's happened last year, it's happening this year. What is your, and I think maybe even next year, this might be it. What is your take on Pluto into Aquarius from a twin flames and ascension process? I'm very curious to hear this.
For twin flames, the one thing that is the main thing that I see is happening is there are reunions. I'm working with a lot of twins right now who have been in separation. The divine feminine has been doing her individuation process of growing her own wholeness within her soul, her yin yang. And I've also noticed I've even had contact from divine masculines, which I've never had before, asking, how do I come into my grids? Because they are aware of this connection. They are aware of the power coming together to build the new earth. They are part of the movement in building the new earth. In the old paradigm through the age of Pisces, and when Pluto was in Capricorn, separation and individuation was the main theme. In age of Aquarius, it's about unity, collective consciousness, the collaboration of twin flames coming together to assist the rebuilding of new earth, the heaven on earth energy that has been imprinted in all of the ancient texts, whether it's shamanic scripts or the ancient Bhagavad Gita, or whether it's the ancient Bible or the scrolls. It all speaks about heaven on earth that's coming to earth in the next 20 years. We're moving into that collaboration. They are one of the spearheaders, because the power of two is not two, it's infinite. They're a strong power couple for the new building of the new earth, where it's heart-centered, about the greater collective good. And it's also about showing how new relationships on the earth will be, when the new children will not have karmic grids. They are born with dharma because they've come from two parents that are holding unconditional love templates. Okay,
because they're the children of twin flames.
Oh, and also a lot of the starseed ambassadors, a lot of the what I would call shamans, the light workers, the astrologers. We're all doing it from different perspectives, but the outcome is the same. We're all giving shared wisdom. We're all sharing in what's to come on the new earth. As the old world collapses, the new world is building at the same time. It's kind of a simultaneous process. So when we're moving into the age of Aquarius, anything that was in the dark, especially Aquarius rules unity and collective consciousness, it will be brought to light. So there's a lot of light codes this year and a lot of awakening. So the people who are working with twin flames or surrounded by twin flames, their awakening will happen faster and ripple through to them, whether they're working in an association, whether let's say it's in banking or working with the police force or in prison correction centers, because there are twin flames in all these places as well. They're not just working in the light. Many of them are working in places where there's darkness, where there's still distortion, where there's still manipulation, where there's still power grids that still haven't fully collapsed. Their energy of reunification of their own soul and reunification of the external one soul of the two parties coming together is allowing any dark grids that are still in darkness brought to light in the age of Aquarius. So one last thing I want to say is they're all positioned in very strategic places around the world. They're in very strategic places, not by coincidence, by full synchronicity of what their soul encoding is and required for that place. They have a resonance and a vibration that's able to permeate into the earth and open up the energy fields of light.
So one thing we touched on last time was the fact that you have met your twin flame. Yeah. But you are not together as a couple, is that right?
Yes, we do communicate in the 3D, but it's done through a coding at the moment because we are part of the planetary twin flame network, which means we're overseeing and we're also placed very strategically to assist those places. He's locked almost in one place. I'm the one that moves around. So I'm the moving part, the moving particle in this connection. He's almost consistent between one or two spots. And it's very, very consistent for a reason, because in the light codes that I then bring back, they get shared between the mutual frequency that we share to each other in the third dimensional plane. It then gets transacted in both places.
So, for example, when you came to the UK, did you bring some light codes back?
Yes, absolutely. And was from the Middle East. Because before I got to the UK, I had done Dubai and Abu Dhabi on purpose, did the light grids there, connected with his soul, did what we needed to do, and then I brought that to the UK. Definitely. And I didn't realize, but when we stayed in Park Lane, that it was a lot of Middle Eastern, a lot of people that were there from Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Saudi Arabia. I went, oh wow, like I didn't realize that they had such a big contingency in that part of the UK. And I thought, oh, I knew exactly what to do, where to do it, and how to do it.
When you got back to Australia, so did you ring your twin flame up or message him and say, right, I'm back with the light codes? How does it work?
I show him the locations. We have it without saying too much, because we don't want it exposed yet. We work on the inner planes together. I show locations.
Do you physically speak to each other, or is it all done mentally?
So it is mental, but it's also physical. It can be read, but it's physical so it's 3D, which is physical, and it's 5D, which is telepathic. It's both. We do 3D, 5D simultaneously. Some couples are very much 3D, where they're in connection, seeing each other, but each twin flame couple has a different grid or a different energetic imprint that they are here to work with, that their own code, their own unique code. It's like a signature, a soul signature, or a frequency hum, and that hum can permeate through to heal something specific. Some of us are working on the micro level, which means they're in the same place, same town, even working in the same organization. Then I have other twins where we're extreme North Pole, South Pole, but where we connect is in the center, through the equatorial grids, and we have a communication channel. There is a channel that's open between them to transfer the information in 3D and in 5D.
So obviously then he knows that he's doing this.
Yes.
It's not something that you do just on some different level. Okay. Right.
Very much. He even knows he's a twin flame, and he worked it out 3-4 years ago, because it doesn't leave them either after the divine feminine awakens, because for a while the divine masculine rejects the feminine, for her to come into her own self-love grids, build her own yin yang, raise her divine masculine, merge within herself. Once that inner sacred marriage or eros gemos happens within, then the external gets activated into him energetically, gets imprinted, and that's how they awaken. But it's the divine feminine that awakens first, usually through her divine purpose, through being in love with herself, strong self-love grid, strong, working deeply on purpose, really passionately being with the earth and activating the heaven on earth grid within her own soul. And then they mirror, because they are an energetic blueprint. They are literally the mirror of your soul, and vice versa.
All right. So if someone watching thinks they're with their twin flame, should they be trying to bring in some codes? Like, what are they meant to do?
It happens naturally. It happens naturally. So I'm glad you said that. I really love that you're saying that, because that's how you know it's not a 3D manipulated, someone telling you, oh, this is how you mean. The codes come on organically, naturally. They rise in vibration as you do your soul work, as you do your soul purpose, as you live in your truth, in your authenticity, in your transparency. They automatically come online. It's an automatic process, because by meeting with them energetically or physically, your kundalini rises. When the kundalini rises, you're then open and awakened to getting all the light codes naturally. And because there's one thing that twin flames have is an oversoul. It almost looks like a moon, actually. There's like a moon above them, and that shares the information from their heart, from their higher heart, and then also above them in the soul star. And there's one in the earth star as well, but the big one is the telepathic, which you spoke about earlier, happens through their soul star, their 13th chakra above the crown. 6 feet above it is our soul star that we all have. They have a shared one. They don't have an individual one. That's how they also know. And this shared soul star frequency transmits information because the soul doesn't need time and space. We work beyond it. It's a cosmic energy that attempts to come into the third dimensional plane and merge.
So I used to be a journalist and a TV producer. I'm curious, did you ever have a normal job before you became a a twin flame expert?
I did. I've actually been so I've studied law and economics as well at Sydney University. So yeah, I was working in the corporate field, but didn't stay very long. I just didn't resonate. To be honest, Yasmin, I think I did it just to please my parents at the time, because my father really wanted me to get, he was very big on academia and education, because he came from a strong academic background. But my truth was that I wanted to be in spirituality. So I would often, during the 4-week break, go overseas and do courses in America. At the time, it was like Anthony Robbins, Jim Rohn, all, Wayne Dyer, all the and I used to love Doreen Virtue, I think it was. She used to work with angels. Like, so I was really in that, because that's what was trending at the time. That's what I kind of did. That was my truth. And then from there I thought, I've got to live my truth. It didn't take long, and I was on path. I was always on path.
Obviously, what you're saying is, even for my world, is quite out there. So what do your friends and family say when you start talking about all this stuff? I mean, they must just think, oh, Raghida's lost the plot.
Yes, of course, they used to. And I'm also a believer. There are many paths to the light. This is only one of them. And and once you get to a certain point in this, your destiny, you start to live out your destiny. You become more quantum. You start to access a quantum field. You become more cosmic in your energy. The instant things that happen in your life, the synchronicities, it's like any path. Once you've really mastered it and you've come to that point of really higher evolution in it, you then transcend to another level. So the label becomes, I don't like the label, to be really honest with you, because it's the twin flame label, because I feel like it's been written in such a way that it's been used as a trendy concept, or it's been used as, oh, I want to be a twin flame. Let me tell you something, Yasmin, everybody does have a twin flame. Everybody does.
And if everybody has a twin flame, sorry to interrupt you, if everybody has a twin flame, are they all on Earth, or some of them up on?
So some will be in other dimensional planes. Some will be their spirit guides. They're not all here together. The ones that were that incarnated here at this time was because of what happened in 2012. There was a big onslaught of twin flames and other highly evolved souls from other star systems that came to Earth to assist the awakening movement. And they may think, but a lot of people have said to me, but Raghida, it's the darkest it's ever been on Earth. I said, no, it isn't. It's just that the darkness has come up. It's been revealed through Pluto. Pluto is the lord of the underworld. It's revealing everything that is in darkness, everything that has been hidden, everything that has been in distortion has been elevated to light, so we can heal it and transcend it. This is the time you will see that we are, as we're collapsing old timelines, new timelines are birthing. We are birthing at the same time. It's a rebirth that the humanity is going through. So many twin flames came as a collective at the 2012 portal, at the precession of the equinox that happened on the December 21st, 2012 portal. And now this is the next portal. Pluto in Capricorn moving into Aquarius is revolutionary, coming into the place of love, coming into the genuine age of Aquarius over the next 20 years. The golden age is being birthed, and we are in a time capsule witnessing it live as a humanity.
And so actually that resonates with something I had Diana Cooper on the podcast a few weeks ago, and she's actually written a book called The Golden Age, or The Golden Era, I can't remember now. So I suppose she's probably talking about the same thing, is she?
Yes, absolutely, because right now we're in the 5D. You've probably heard of 5D. So 3D is the matrix, 5D is when you move beyond it. But when you move into quantum, which is what I think Diane Cooper works with as well, is 7 to 12D. So there are many timelines opening simultaneously right now for us to access, and it's quantum. We're doing a lot of timeline jumping, and you probably noticed it. You know how time is moving really fast. Really fast, so accelerated. When time moves fast, guess what's happening? We're moving more into soul consciousness, because time is part of density. It's part of the 3D matrix. It's part of the dense matter of where we are in this dimensional plane. As we move faster and accelerate and evolve and ascend like the DNA, we access different timelines that are higher versions of what we are right now, of which Diane Cooper is speaking about. But the golden age, we are at the cusp of it. We're literally about to birth it. And the next 20 years, we will see it in full scale. You will see everything open up. You will, all of the beliefs we have been told will collapse, and you will realize the consciousness within you, the power within you, and the quantum coding that you carry, the God consciousness or the goddess consciousness within you to bring on your highest destiny. That's what they fear. They don't want that because they've controlled society through domination, through power and control. All of that is going to get collapsed as more and more light gets permeated onto the earth.
Okay, taking it back to you again on a personal level or for anybody else. So
Sure.
with the twin flame idea, because I know people are going to have questions. For example, if you're not in a relationship, a romantic relationship with your twin flame, does that mean that you can't be in a romantic relationship with anyone else that's going to be fulfilling because that person is your twin flame?
What a fantastic question, Yasmin. That's like the $1 million question, the bullseye question. And yes, you can be in another relationship while you're with your twin. It's not the same. Your twin is your ultimate partner because they mirror and match you perfectly. But until you've done your internal work, you will still trigger each other until you've come into a place of balance. Once your own equilibrium within your own, because we are all yin yang. Every person, whether you're male or female, has an androgynous soul, which means it's yin and yang within us, the alpha and omega codes. Once your own alpha and omega have stabilized, once they're balanced, once they're in a peristaltic action within themselves, reverberating out into the universe with that lovely energetic grid, then the union of twins comes together naturally. It doesn't happen from the mind or the physical. The soul naturally gravitates to come together, to merge as one again. And once the feminine does it first, it's always the feminine has to go through first because she's the foundation. The soul is feminine in energy. Once the feminine goes through it, the masculine sees it at an energetic level and he begins to mirror that. It attempts to come in as the clash happens between them and they separate. He evolves, grows. As his evolution comes to a certain level, they naturally gravitate together like an electromagnetic force.
Someone who, and I'm thinking of a girlfriend of mine in Sydney, for example, someone who has never managed to have a long-term relationship, a relationship that worked out, a marriage, whatever, does that possibly mean they're a twin flame who hasn't met their twin?
Especially, and I'll tell you what the keynote for that is. Especially if they're quite a highly evolved being, which means they're aware of their mind, body, spirit connection. They're aware of logical alignments. They're very spiritually attuned. They have a really healthy outlook to life. You know what I mean? Where they're really connected to the universal forces, really connected to the universal consciousness, understand the power of love, understand the ascension of light, then yes, or her soul would be aware of him and his soul is moving towards her.
How do you feel about the fact that then in theory you can't have a relationship that's going to fulfill you or last or be a marriage or whatever because your twin is there and you haven't kind of aligned yet?
Look, it is, but I tell you what the wonderful thing about it is usually if they are in another connection or you are in another connection, that person has gifts to give you that your twin can't yet. Because twins have, there's a twofold process. They have to heal and work with their own consciousness first. And if there's unresolved issues in your own soul, your twin can't heal that for you. You will meet what I call a soulmate or a high initiate soulmate or even a karmic soulmate. You go through that lesson. Once that lesson's complete, that connection's finished. The highest level of evolution in connection on Earth is with a twin flame. So other connections serve a purpose that assists the union indirectly. So quite often girls will come to me and say, oh my God, he's married. He's this. I said, let it be. Work on you. It's not, he's either finishing contracts, learning gifts, or paying back karma that is due to that person that they've still owed from a previous lifetime. Because when twins get together, this is their final life. They ascend together.
Right.
Dimension. So they have to complete all other karma that is due irrespective of their twin flame, if that makes sense.
Right. And last question, what are the chances of your twin flame being someone who, I don't know, you work with or your neighbor or someone you don't have a romantic connection with? How often does that happen, or is it always romantic?
No, you're spot on. I'm wondering whether you're a twin. Spot on.
So you said that last time.
Yeah, it keeps coming to me because you're asking questions that only genuinely a twin has experienced. Maybe we should talk after, because I feel like you really understand it at a level that's beyond the third dimensional plane. When I've been asked on other podcasts, they're very deep and they have absolute bullseye. Most don't start romantic. Some do. Some meet each other and go, oh my God, what was that? But it's usually they get this bang in their heart, or there's something in their eye that you feel you've fallen into another world, or their voice activates and you get this entire shiver that shakes your body like a bell, like a tone of truth that you've never heard before, or their smell. So it's at work, it can happen when the right time comes. The souls, I'll keep reminding you, it's a soul connection, it's a soul attunement. The souls will then say, right, it's time, and they have that orchestration of deep love. But quite often it isn't romantic love. There is an aspect of it is romantic love, but a lot of it is spiritual attunement, the look in their eye. They can't even be too long together because it's such a strong, profound, energetic vibration between them. They can't hold it in physical for too long without their circuits burning out. So that's how they know. Because you dream about them, it just doesn't leave you. You can taste what they're tasting. You can hear what they're saying. You can feel what they're feeling. It's almost like you can walk into each other's bodies. It's like the movie Avatar.
Just say it's someone you work with and they're married to someone else.
Yeah.
For one thing, you're saying your souls will do this work that needs to be done without even having to talk about it. And then if they go off and get another job, are they kind of like going to be the people that you stay in touch with?
If they're in another marriage and you are connecting through work, let's just say, you're not, and I say this to a lot of twin flames, you should not be having a sexual relationship with them. It's right. You must honor their third dimensional plane connections. Once the work in the third dimensional plane by both twins is complete, the souls naturally gravitate together to have that unification of oneness. The soul wants to experience union. We're all encoded for union to come back to the other half of our soul. We're all encoded in it. It's an encoding in our DNA that we all have. So once the work is done on the 3D level, the 5D energy of the soul will naturally bring the two people together. They'll re-meet in a very auspicious circumstance, or in a very out of the blue in a different country, and it can happen anywhere, anytime. After they leave, to say they're working together and they leave, they do re-meet, and they re-meet because the souls find their way back to each other again.
Well, Raghida, I find this completely fascinating. I find it really hard to understand it all, but I love how fluent you are. It's not like you're trying to think of anything. It all just comes pouring out of you, which is very interesting. So really, I guess I'll just say, for anyone who's listening, who's like, oh my God, I need more Raghida, remind us again where we find you on the internet.
Raghida Shaman on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. And
it's Raghida, Raghida, and then Shaman, Shaman. Amazing. All right. Well, Raghida, thank you so much for coming back on. It's a really different take on Pluto's move into Aquarius, but it makes sense astrologically, the transformation of humanity in a nutshell.
Yes.
I'm just going to ask you to leave us with one thought. This is going to go out the week before Valentine's Day. Anything that comes to you as someone who knows all about, Valentine's Day and twin flames and so on, anything you would like to leave people with? Any thought that you would like to leave people with?
We're entering the year of the Emerald Dragon. So in the Chinese astrology, we're actually entering the year of the dragon, another astrological new cycle. So I guess what I would like to say is understand you're in a time capsule right now to draw in the greatest life you can. This is the time that we can really call on our divine destiny. So the thought I want to leave you with is, what is it you want to do in the next 20 years? What is your authentic truth? How do you take that mask off? Just being yourself, loving yourself, accessing Valentine's Day with the year of the wood Emerald Dragon in Chinese astrology as well is just such a profound time of complete new growth, new evolution. Everything you have ever known, collapse it, start again, clean slate, like you are reborn.
Amazing. Raghida, thank you so much. And I hope we speak again before too long.